American filmmakers Ray and Alan, who are friends, arrive in northern Norway to capture the local beauty and the few inhabitants for a television show. Alan is very annoyed that there's no taxi in this remote place, making it difficult to reach the ship for which they have tickets. Ray, on the other hand, is cheerful and full of optimism. In fact, he quickly finds a man who agrees to drive them to the required pier. On the way, the local resident teases the Americans for their confusion, as even he himself doesn't always understand what to expect from the nature here. Soon, the guys reach the pier, where the third member of the expedition, Sean, is already waiting for them. Their regular cameraman couldn't make it on this trip, so they had to hire a local worker. Alan is very angry about this, as it's unclear what this stranger is capable of. But Ray greets the newcomer warmly and even offers to carry his small suitcase, but Sean refuses. The journey begins with a greeting from the good-natured and positive captain of the ship, Jim, who also serves as a local guide. With humor and jokes, Jim introduces the people on his ship who have come from different parts of the world. There's a married couple from Sweden, scientists, oceanologists from Tromsø, Norway, 3 girls from Germany, and of course, the Hollywood filmmakers. After greeting and introducing everyone, Jim explains that the islands of the Norwegian Svalbard archipelago are one of 14 demilitarized zones, so they are in the safest place in the world. Laughing at the captain's jokes, people head to lunch. Thawing a bit, Alan apologizes to Sean for his rudeness, explaining that he was upset about the absence of their regular cameraman. Sean reveals that he served in the army, and Alan asks him to film the ship from its rear. Sean immediately leaves, placing a small suitcase on the table. Ray approaches and opens the lid, revealing some unknown device. He takes out a pair of headphones, puts them on, and hears the sounds of the ocean and whale songs. Alan asks him not to touch the equipment, as it is clearly antique, but Ray continues to listen for a while longer, then puts the headphones on Alan and invites his friend to join him, but Alan quickly takes them off. Sean suddenly appears and retrieves his suitcase. Alan and Ray turn their attention to the German girls, who, it turns out, watch their show. Ray enjoys himself while Alan receives messages from his wife, who is unhappy with his constant absence, and he tries to sort out the situation. Meanwhile, Sean is also sending some messages and starts filming. Captain Jim explains that the people living here value solitude and risk because nature sets the rules in these parts. If someone doesn't follow them or is careless, death is inevitable. At this time, Ray notices a bird perched on the ship's railing with its eyes gouged out, but it flies away, and Ray thinks he imagined it. Later, the filmmakers get to know the scientists from Tromsø, who talk about the possible consequences of electromagnetic storms for the entire Earth's population. Ray notices that Alan is sad, looking at the married couple at the corner table, and tries to cheer him up, thinking that his wife is just scaring him. But Alan reveals that his wife is unhappy with his work. She doesn't like that he's always traveling and even threatens divorce. Now he wonders if his show is worth the loss of his marriage and children. At this moment, cries are heard outside. The guys run to the deck and see a female walrus killing her calf on a nearby ice floe. People are horrified, and Captain Jim advises everyone to go inside. He himself has never seen anything like it and considers it a strange incident. Later, Jim distracts the tourists with stories about striped whales, which Norwegians used to hunt, and lightens the mood a bit. Suddenly, Alan feels unwell and goes to the restroom. Ray hesitates but follows him. The others relax, enjoy barbecue, chat, and laugh. Sean films the surroundings. Suddenly, he hears a strange sound, and the power on the ship goes out. At this time, Alan and Ray come out on deck. Strangely, there are no people around. Their personal belongings, dishes with food, and various small items are in place, but the tourists are nowhere to be seen. The men go to the bridge, but Jim is not there either. Worried, the guys search the ship, but it's completely empty. Ray starts to recall the situation and realizes that everyone disappeared when the ship lost power. Sean approaches them, saying that he was also in the restroom. He doesn't believe that the people disappeared and even suspects his friends of playing a prank. But the guys are too serious, and the cameraman goes to check the engine room. There's no one there either. After making sure of this, Sean tries to contact someone by phone, but it doesn't work. Meanwhile, Alan is rewatching messages from his children when suddenly he vomits blood. The man is worried but doesn't show it. Ray tries to contact someone by radio, but it only emits static. Nevertheless, he reports everything, hoping that someone will hear him. Then he sees a village on the shore and tells his comrades about it. Sean suggests that all the passengers and crew have gone there and prepares a boat. Meanwhile, Alan inspects the belongings of the missing tourists on deck, finds a camera and puts it in his pocket. Ray notices blood on his t-shirt and sees a wound on his neck, but Alan doesn't remember where and when he got it. Ray takes him below to wash and bandage the wound. Later, they go out on deck and see Sean packing things into the boat. A rifle is slung over his shoulder, which surprises Ray. Nevertheless, they board the boat and sail to the shore. After landing, Sean asks the men to stay together, fearing the many bears in the area. They head towards the houses, but everything is deserted. It becomes clear that this is an abandoned town, built by Soviet workers during the USSR era. Soon they find an intact-looking sports complex building and explore it. After wandering through the empty quarters, the men find themselves in an empty swimming pool. Ray suggests returning to the boat, as at least there they have food. But then they hear a strange sound, similar to a growl, and follow it to find a dying deer. The guys return to the gym. Ray again suggests returning to the boat and trying to get somewhere. But Alan doesn't believe in a happy return. He even thinks that they are in the afterlife and doesn't understand why they are still here. After an argument, the men go to explore the village, but no one responds to their calls. Suddenly, sounds come from one house, and the guys run there and find a working TV. It shows nothing, but someone must have turned it on, right? Furious, Ray smashes the device while Alan finds a wound on his leg. And again, he can't remember where and when he got it. The man stays in place while his colleagues go to explore. He comes across a book, and after reading a few lines about always moving toward a goal rather than sitting still, Alan pulls out a flare gun from his backpack, stands up, and steps outside. Soon he finds an old cemetery. On one tombstone, there's a photo of a man and his 2 children, which horrifies Alan. He leaves the village and suddenly encounters a wounded polar bear. However, Alan remains calm, reminding the animal that they are companions in misfortune, and the bear leaves. The man returns to the village. Meanwhile, Sean tells Ray that he came here because of a girl. Ray suddenly admits that he has always feared responsibility and remembers his long-dead sister. Then Sean notices a light in one of the windows, and the guys run to the house. Inside, it's warm, but again, no one is there. While Ray examines the empty corridors, Sean suddenly hears music and finds a working record player. Ray, on the other hand, sees a bowl of borscht on the table. Everything looks as if someone set the table and just disappeared. Meanwhile, Alan, sitting on the swings in the yard of this house, is re-watching videos of his children and pulls out the flare gun. Ray sees the flare go up outside, runs into the yard, and finds his friend there. He brings him into the cafe they've found and offers him a drink to warm up and relax. Sean goes to retrieve the things they left in the sports complex. Meanwhile, Ray and Alan are drinking, reminiscing about home and family. Sean, after taking his suitcase onto the porch, puts on the headphones and listens to the sounds of whales. Contrary to Ray's hopes, the alcohol makes Alan feel even worse. Ray takes him to the restroom, but his friend is completely drained of strength. Ray lays him on the couch and goes to get water. Meanwhile, Alan discovers the camera he found earlier in his pocket and starts reviewing the photos. It becomes clear that it belonged to the German girls. The man watches a video and suddenly sees something that completely drains him of strength. At this moment, Sean returns. Ray suggests they head to a neighboring village, which he saw on a map found in the village. They could reach it in about 4 hours by boat. Sean objects, saying that it's too dangerous to sail at night. Ray then announces that he intends to find fuel. Sean hands him the rifle to protect against bears, and Ray leaves. Meanwhile, Alan sees Sean and seems to be frightened by him. In a weak voice, he asks Sean what he's doing there and who he really is. Ray, at this moment, finds a large vehicle and tries to open its gas tank. Sean, overcoming Alan's resistance, puts the headphones from his device on him and forces him to listen to the whale songs. As the fuel is being siphoned into a kettle Ray found, Alan listens to the ocean sounds and grows silent. Sean takes the flare gun and heads to the shore, where Ray is already pouring the fuel into the boat's tank. Having done his job, Ray returns to Alan and finds him in a terrible state. His friend's body is covered in bleeding wounds, but despite this, Alan tries to say something to him. Ray discerns words about the video of the German tourists, re-watches it, and sees Sean in the background with a camera, meaning he lied about being in the restroom and not seeing where the people went. Grabbing the rifle, Ray rushes to find the cameraman. He soon catches up with him and beats him, demanding the truth. Sean has to confess that he's here to document the results of an experiment. It turns out that they are currently testing a sonic weapon that attacks the brain's neural functions. Sean is just a hired hand, paid to film the process. The people on the ship vanish before his eyes, although they were supposed to be just disoriented. Ray doesn't believe it, but Sean has no other answers. His headphones work with the opposite vibration, serving as a kind of vaccine. Ray recalls that he also listened to them, and Alan, although much less. Sean admits that he recently let his friend listen to the sounds, but they can no longer cure him. Sean was supposed to contact his employers by phone, but there's no signal. Ray returns to Alan, who is getting worse. Sean follows behind. After resting a bit, Ray begins to treat his friend's wounds, promising that they will soon get out of there. Alan asks him to take care of his family, but Ray assures him that he will see them himself in a couple of days. Alan asks his friend to leave him there and escape on his own. He asks for the phone so he can record one last message for his children. Ray is outraged. He would never do such a thing, but he gives him the phone. Alan, gathering his strength, makes a video saying goodbye to his loved ones. Ray returns to his friend, takes the phone, and heads to the pier. He places the camera in a waterproof orange pouch and throws it into the sea. Then he goes ashore, where Sean is checking the boat's motor. Later, he tells Ray that this job was offered to him by an old friend who knew about his financial troubles, and Ray advises him to spend the money wisely. At this moment, they hear a sound. Ray prepares the rifle, but Sean asks him to wait. The guys run, fearing a bear, and find themselves outside the town, where Sean's phone suddenly turns on, delivering a message that they will be picked up in 30 minutes. The men go back for Alan, dress him, and together head to the designated spot. However, Sean asks them to stay behind while he meets those coming for them. He will have to admit that 2 survived. Sean leaves while the friends hide in one of the houses. Alan asks Ray to confirm that they worked well together, then dies. Ray mourns his friend, then takes off his medallion and places it in his hand. At this moment, Sean is killed by an unseen assassin. Ray hears the sound and grabs the rifle. Suddenly, the phone on the wall rings, but Ray doesn't answer. The ringing echoes through the dead town as the man hides from those who were supposed to save them. After the credits, footage shows the orange pouch with the camera floating in the sea. The plot, which started so intriguingly, ends up leading nowhere. The mystery turns out to be painfully simple, and the characters meet an expected demise. On the bright side, the first half of the film showcases very beautiful views of the northern nature, promising something fantastic.